Alex, we've reached the part of our show that everybody comments on. They always think it's funny. We try to inflict some humor with some of these sometimes. That's tough, or is that enough? Are we ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Starting off number one, we have 11 ranked SEC football teams in the week 3 of college football AP poll. Alex, this has been a record-breaking week as far as rankings for the SEC, 11 of them. And I got to be honest with you, there's a few of them that kind of debatable for me. But overall, is this tough for the SEC, or have you seen a little bit too much and enough of some of the glaze?
I think it's tough. What we saw last week, we've talked about it so many times on the show already. Mississippi State beating the face of the Big 12 and Arizona State. It only proves to me that the SEC is deep. I think really the only bad team in the SEC right now is Kentucky. They're pretty down in the dumps. And you can make an argument for really Vanderbilt to be ranked. Mississippi State, after beating Arizona State, you could argue they should be ranked after this week. Now, will they be ranked towards the end of the season? I don't think so. They'll probably be 6-6, 7-5, 8-4. I don't think they're going to be one of these best teams in the country. Arkansas, you could argue they could be ranked with the way they're playing offense right now.
Florida was just ranked.
Yeah, Florida was just ranked. I mean, there's an argument for you to have 15 of the 16 SEC teams ranked right now, which is crazy. And you can even go to basketball with how good they're playing right now and how many teams were making the tournament last year, set a record for teams in the tournament. So the SEC is not only deep in basketball now, it's deep in football.
Yeah, NIL's had a lot to do with that coming in and leveling the playing field as far as rosters go. But, man, I love this for the SEC as well. I mean, you talk about the teams that are not ranked. We just mentioned 4 of them in Florida, Mississippi State, Vandy, and Arkansas. The only one that leaves is Kentucky that neither of us think is worth any count. I think Texas, interestingly enough, they played the 5 unranked teams.
Lucky dogs.
In the SEC, yeah, so a little bit of help in there from the schedule. But I think it's tough for the league. You'll continue to see good football from, I think, both Auburn and Alabama, even as Auburn starts their tougher road slate of games. Alabama looking very strong. Georgia. And who wants to play Garrett Nussmeier right now in LSU? And who really wants to try to contend with Tennessee's offense? a lot of good teams that would give outside SEC opponents nightmares. So I think it's tough as well. So both of us taking the tough column. And number 2, only 2 points this week, so this one will be pretty interesting. The Bills and Ravens game, by the way, if you missed it, outstanding football game. Really got things going in the right direction for the NFL. The Ravens lost to the Bills, Buffalo winning 41-40. Buffalo overcomes a fourth quarter 15-point deficit for just the 3rd time in team history. Baltimore became the first team in NFL history to lose when scoring 40 or more and rushing for 235 or more.
Never want to be the first in anything in football or basketball or any sport.
Wow, I'm telling you what, man. Alex, is this more of a tough comeback for the Buffalo Bills, or have we just seen enough contender title talk with the Baltimore Ravens?
It's tough with the Bills being able to come back in this game because it looked grim for a while. People were already saying Bills are done. This roster is not going to be able to contend this year. And then it took a whole 180 after they came back. Oh, my gosh, Josh Allen's the MVP this year. He's going to play. He's playing great football. The defense stood up when they need to. But the Ravens, I think that's enough for one player in particular. Jair Alexander needs to go on and hang it up. If you watch that game, he was burnt toast in those final 4 minutes of the football game when the Bills ended up coming back. You can just watch the clips of him getting his ankles broken on routes when the players didn't even have the ball in their hands. It's enough of him. Hang it up, Jair Alexander. You had a great career. You're just ruining your legacy right now playing the way you are. But it's tough for the Bills and their ability to come back in this game because it shows you that they're ready to contend and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I love Josh Allen. He's my fantasy quarterback, and he's the only reason I didn't lose by 30 or more this past week. Man, my skill players.
He's the only reason the Bills didn't lose by 30 or more this week or last week.
The skill players not showing up. And how good does this look for the front office of the Bills? You know, a few years back, opting not to re-sign Diggs. Diggs, and then opting not to go after Gabe Davis back again. And Gabe Davis turned out to have not so good of a year for the Jaguars. So it's like another good series of events. They've got some really young athletic receivers, most notably in Coleman. And I really just like the team. I think they're tough as well. I do think the Ravens, as far as contender talks, we need to stop it for right now. But Lamar just doesn't have consistent help outside of Zay Flowers.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I saw as I was watching the game, and then you look at the stat sheet afterward, and stat sheets aren't everything. If you have to watch the game to see it. But outside of Zay Flowers and Derrick Henry and the one-handed grab that DeAndre Hopkins had, there was no offense to speak of for the Baltimore Ravens. Then you flip over to the defense. That was an awful defensive performance in that fourth quarter. They just fell apart, and that was the story for them last year. Zach Orr, the defensive coordinator, who's I think the youngest defensive coordinator in the NFL, former Raven himself, he's got to do better as a coach, and the players have to execute better.